Welcome back to our new show. It's time for some sports updates. So, Indonesia head coach Patrick Kluivert believes that the passionate home crowd will provide a significant boost for Garuda squad in the crucial World qualifiers against Bahrain later today. Meanwhile, national team player Marcelino Ferdinand, for his part, said that evaluation have been done to secure 3 points from the match. So Indonesia held their last training session on Monday, and both Ole Romney and Sandy Walsh trained with the team despite previous injury concerns, with only Matt Hilgers missing due to injury. So two key players, Ragnar Uratmangun and Justin Hubner, will return from suspension for the Bahrain match, and this is expected to be a boost for the Garuda squad after they missed the previous match due to yellow card accumulation. Coach Kluivert is looking forward to his first match at Gelora Bung Karno Stadium, while midfielder Marcelino Ferdinand said that the team has recovered from their loss to Australia.
Everything's possible in football. We are chasing every victory like it's our last. The mindset of the players and the coaching staff is fantastic. We're going for the win, and every game is a win for us in our mind. We're not backing off for nobody. As I said, we got the right mindset. Luck is also a little bit important, but we need to stand together. If we stand together with the right mindset, we for sure get the right results that we deserve.
Ya, kita harus optimis dari pemain. Kita sempat ada meeting bareng dari sebagai pemain, as a player. Dan ya, saya sebagai pemain juga bisa melihat bahwa pemain sangat optimis dan sangat positif untuk pertandingan besok. Dan mereka sangat-sangat tidak sabar juga untuk menantikan pertandingan besok, dan ya kita akan mati-matian dan memberikan yang terbaik untuk Indonesia.
On the opposing team, Bahrain's head coach emphasized that the team has moved on from their recent loss to Japan, with Group C qualification still up for grabs. Securing a victory is essential to stay in the race. Bahrain head coach Dragan Taljic sees the clash as a pivotal moment in their World Cup qualification campaigns. The crowd is anticipating a tough match, with key midfielders Hamad Al-Samsan said to be missing later today. Bahrain and Indonesia each have 6 points from 7 matches in Group C. However, Indonesia is in 4th, while Bahrain trails in 5th. The two sides last faced off on October 10 and last year at Bahrain National Stadium in Riffa and play out a 2-2 draw.
نفس ما قال المدرب احنا جايين هنا مستعدين ان شاء الله للمباراه وتركيزنا منصب كلها على المباراه وان شاء الله احنا جايين حق 3 نقاط.
All right, let's talk about this spicy match because we will have a preview the Indonesia-Bahrain match with football tactical analyst Muhammad Yusuf Raihan, who join us in the studio. Welcome to the studio, Raihan.
Yep. Thank you, Mas.
Welcome back.
You're welcome. Mas.
Okay, so what's gonna be? Let's first look back on Indonesia match versus Australia. Let's take a little bit one step back. So, several days ago, what do you think happened in the Garuda squad that day?
Well, I think it was a disaster. I think one word to sum it up. I think the match against Australia, where we've tried to play like an expansive style of play, expansive style of football, but it didn't work. It didn't work at all. We lost 5-1. And it was a pretty disappointing result. I think that Patrick Kluivert has had his ideas on how to play against Australia, but ultimately it didn't work out at all. I mean,
okay, this is...
Yeah, I have like a summary of what happened against Australia. And I think one word to sum it up as well, other than disastrous, was naivety.
Naivety.
Yeah, it was like the main reason why Indonesia lost heavily against Australia. I mean, we played a very high pressing system, but without the positional discipline, without the coordination between the players and the pressing angles.
Is it because Indonesia is trying to new formula in their strategy?
Yeah. I mean, like
it's a little bit different, you know. They have a different approach from the previous.
Yeah. It's like a totally different approach
right.
from Shin Tae-yong to Patrick Kluivert.
Yeah.
It's like 180 degrees, and yeah, it's very amusing to see because
Okay.
we are in a critical stage of
Yeah.
the World Cup qualifying stages, and yeah, I think it was not, it was not a good showing. And yeah, we can see as well set pieces weren't a priority.
Yeah.
We conceded 2 goals from set piece and conceded a penalty as well from the set piece. Rest defense, losing every second balls, made it easy for Australia to attack us. And Bahrain, they have the similar philosophy to
Okay.
Australia. And yeah, I think that made it, worrying for us Indonesians if we are going to play the same way against Australia, against Bahrain later. So yeah, I think, there are some learning points
Yeah, okay.
from the game against
From
Australia.
the last game, is the gap between our midfield and defensive line is the cause of Indonesia loss?
Well,
Security.
yeah, I think we can. One of them is the gap between the midfield line and defensive line. When you look at this here, it's just too big of a gap. And here, we can see that 2 of our double pivots are trying to press really high because usually you would find midfielders here in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
But you can see both Tom Hay and Nathan Choa on.
Is
They
this a new approach or this is?
Yeah, it's very new. You wouldn't see this
Yeah, it's
in
uncommon.
Shin Tae-yong's system. Yeah, and it's the main idea was try to press these 2 guys because
Yeah.
they are Irvine and O'Neal. Maybe they aren't the best with the ball, but what they are really good at is their movements, especially Irvine, because you can see here that Irvine is already facing forward, and that gives the momentum for him. So here the ball is from. You can see the ball is passed from Aidan O'Neal to this Velupillai, and he will act as a third man or like a wall passer. He'll give it back to Irvine here, and they already have the momentum where you can still see here that Tom Hay and Nathan Chowan is still
Already
turning their
using-
body
okay.
and
Still defending.
yeah, still defending. And there's just too much of this scenario happening in the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was pretty much because of, the discipline of these 2 players and the defensive line. You can see here Boyle, you can see here Velupillai, they are not being guarded,
They're free move.
and they're not being marked. And yeah, it gave us a lot of problems, especially in the
This is
transitions.
what Indonesia should anticipate because you say that Australia have a similar mindset in their gameplay.
Yeah. Bahrain will probably,
Yeah, I mean Bahrain.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bahrain will probably play like in the same way. They want to play direct like Australia, but I think they are kind of more extreme. I think maybe we can move on to the next slide.
Sure, let's go. Let's talk about it.
Okay, I think
Okay.
we will talk about Bahrain a little bit later, but I want to talk about Australia,
okay.
and Indonesia again, the game. And there's a lot of things that Indonesia did awkwardly, I think.
Yeah, I can feel it as
Yeah. So I mentioned about rest defense. Rest defense is the defensive structure when we're attacking. So if we lose the ball, then how many players are ready to, anticipate the counters?
Okay.
Yeah. So here, you would see Izzas. He is a center back, but he usually occupies the space. But for some reason, he is here. And you know that Australia is pressing really aggressively, and they have a overload here. They are winning in they are winning bodies here, like 4v2, 4v2 here, right? And this is very unoptimal because when you lose the ball here, there's this big space to be exploited. And thankfully, that didn't happen. But the only guy here to counter or to anticipate the transition attacks from Australia is Tom Hay. He is not exactly the fastest player. He is not exactly the most physical player. He is not exactly the most defensive-minded player. And yeah, I think there were just, some curious cases from the game against Australia.
Okay.
And yeah,
maybe we can talk.
Okay.
What we can expect from Bahrain?
So yeah, I mean, like against Bahrain, there are several things that stand out or stood out from the team. They are very energetic, physical, hard pressing.
I remember this hard pressing.
Yeah, and they are extremely direct when attacking. I mean, like it would be. I think it would be more difficult playing against Bahrain than against Australia, when you consider that they are very transitional heavy. They would, get the ball and they would launch it up front.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult for our players to go up and down, up and down. And it's very tricky going against this Bahrain team. Talisman look to always play forward and prefer not to recycle the ball. 1, 2, 3 touches.
Yeah, then that's a good direct.
Yeah. And Kluivert's approach might actually suit Bahrain's playing style, because Kluivert has mentioned
It's might actually suit is in a good way or bad way?
in a bad way.
Oh man.
Because Bahrain, because Kluivert has mentioned in the interview, in the recent interview, I think, that they are not going to change their
I remember that part.
style of play. And yeah, that is going to be a concern, because Bahrain is actually pretty similar to Australia in the way that they have a major emphasis on winning loose balls. So maybe aerial duels or maybe like 50-50 balls. They will try to swarm in that area and try to win those balls. And if they do, they will
exploit the awkward positioning.
Yeah.
It will be really.
Yeah, that is on point, 100%. But they also have issues breaking down like a disciplined defensive structure.
Yeah.
Like against China, they lost 1-0 because China were very disciplined in their defensive structure. I mean, if Indonesia wants to adapt,
Indonesia have to be disciplined.
Yeah, Indonesia have to be disciplined if we want to stifle their attack. And okay, maybe we can talk about this in the screenshots.
Okay.
So here, what we can
Japan.
expect from Bahrain is that they usually play in a 4-4-2 here.
Yeah.
But what you can see here is that their wingers, they are adaptable and they will look to drop deeper to mark the opposing wingers.
Yeah.
So if they need it, they are pretty flexible, that they can go with a 5 at the back, so a 5-3-2 or a 4-4-2. And what we can see here is that they will always try to press really high as well. So it could be a homework for maybe like Rizky Ridho here or maybe Justin Hubner here to be composed and to not panic when they have the ball, because Bahrain will always try to press high here. So you can see here that they are playing in a quite high defensive line and they want to put the pressure against these players.
So they already marked the players.
Yeah, so, and here, if they can win the ball in maybe this area, then it will be very, dangerous, because that's what Australia exactly did against us as well, and they tried to attack us really quickly.
So basically, we already knew our weakness. So, well, we hope tonight is gonna be our night.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think what we can exploit from Bahrain then
of course,
is that their defensive line, their high defensive line. We mentioned before that they have a quite, this is pretty high because the goal is right here.
Yeah.
But, the defensive line, they are positioning themselves pretty high. And what we can exploit then is try to use direct balls from behind.
That's right.
So if we can expect someone maybe
Ready to catch the ball.
and make a run in behind, I think maybe someone like Kevin Dix or maybe Eliano Reinders, Ole Romeni, because they showed that they have a good sense of positioning, they have a good sense of when to make those runs. I think, we can see that some of the balls from maybe Jay Idzes or maybe Rizky Ridho or Justin Hubner from behind and just, launch it up front. I think
So
that
it's
is
better for Indonesia to do like speed counter-attack, like fast counter-attack.
I
It
think
will be more beneficial for Indonesia.
maybe not exactly just like 90 minutes being, very direct, but maybe in some situations where, we can see that the game is being stale,
Yeah.
and maybe one or two moments to catch them surprised is that, yeah, by having these long balls. But I can't see Kluivert actually playing in this style because I don't think that is his preferred philosophy of play. But, in one or two moments where Rizky Ridho, Justin Hubner, or Jay Itzes, they possess the ability to play these long balls, and we can definitely utilize them.
Ah,
I think.
this is the prediction.
Well, yeah, I think, as I mentioned before, we can expect Rizky Ridho, Jay Itzes, and Hubner to play, because I think one of the things that happened in the game against Australia is that we really struggled aerially. So in the aerial duels, because Verdonk played as the left center back here, he is only 174 centimeters, so he's not exactly the tallest of a defender. And we will need more height because Bahrain plays in a very physical way. They try to win those aerial duels. They try to launch the ball from behind and, win the second balls from those aerial duels. And Hubner, I think, with his aggressive playing style, with his height, with his passion, with his grit.
Make it balance with
Bahrain
style.
I think he will be key, and I expect him to start actually.
Okay.
And Calvin Verdonk, he will play as a left wing back. And also I think one of the players that I will expect to start is Ivor Jenner in the place of Nathan Choa-on, because Nathan Choa-on, he played against Australia, didn't exactly pan out well. I think he wasn't very positional disciplined. He took too many extra touches in the middle of the park where it attracted pressure for Indonesia. And yeah, I would want to see Ivor Jenner or Joey Pelupesi playing with Tom Hay, because yeah, Nathan Choa-on, he isn't exactly the profile that we need beside Tom Hay.
Okay.
And then up front, I think Eliano Reinders deserves a start because he played really well against Australia in his substitute appearance. I think his movement was he was very active with his movement, roaming to the right-hand side, to the left-hand side, trying to seek out for any space, any bit of space. And yeah, I would want to see him start, but I can also see Ragnar Oratmangun start as well, because he is now eligible to play. And yeah, his hold-up play is especially impressive. And I think we would need someone to hold the ball against a very physical Bahrain team. And yeah, I think, these teams...
How about Bahrain?
Well, I haven't prepared the graphic for Bahrain, but I would expect them to play in a 4-2-3-1 because that is their preferred formation. And what I would expect is them to try and play their way. So they would not, change their way, their playing style, being very direct, being very aggressive. And yeah, I think, it's going to be very interesting to see that style of play, which, we faced in Australia. And this is like a volume 2, the second volume of the game against Australia. And yeah, I think it would be very interesting to see if we can adapt to that style of play. So yeah, I think this is some of the key takeaways.
Okay.
So winning the second balls is a must. So the loose balls, so if there are 50-50 duels, we have to win those duels, because if we can't, then it will be a very dangerous situation for Indonesia, especially Bahrain with their very energetic style of play. So that's why Hubner might suit this game better. And we can see Verdonk play as a wingback to add that a little bit of height in the back line. And be wary of Bahrain's transitional attack, as I mentioned before, because we cannot afford to make the same mistakes as we did against Australia.
We'll learn a lot from Australia.
Yeah. And maybe playing more conservative might suit us better. But, given that Kluivert is trying to stamp his philosophy on this team, I don't think he will want to change a lot from the game against Australia. And maybe I might be wrong, but that is some concern for Indonesia if we will play in the same way against Bahrain as we did against Australia. So yeah, the front three, Reinders, Marcelino, Romani especially, will be key to the attack with their abilities on and off the ball. Especially Romani, because this guy is really a hardworking player. He would go wide, he would go in the middle, make runs in behind, to just try to impact the game on and off the ball. I mean, his ability with the ball dribbling was really impressive. I don't think we have any player who is in the mold of this guy. Because this guy is very different to our other attackers. And when we look at the game Japan versus Bahrain, Takefusa Kubo, who is a really silky dribbler, he found a lot of joy against this Bahrain team because he can break down the Bahrain's defensive structure with his dribbling.
Yeah.
So I think Romani will, he can try to emulate what Takefusa Kubo did against Bahrain and, be dangerous with his dribbling. But, sadly, no hold-up player up front, maybe like Ayase Ueda for Japan, means Indonesia can't be as dynamic as Japan. So maybe we will, rely a lot more on the runs in behind. But maybe, thinking about it again, Ragnar Oratmangun can play this hold-up role. But, not as good as Ayase Ueda for Japan. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of things that, going to be an important or some important notes for Timnas. And I hope that, Patrick Kluivert can be more adaptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really important not to be adaptable.
Yeah.
Well, and that's wrap for sport for this hour. But when we return, we'll have more information. So keep it right on the Charmy Show today.